Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to be talking about how my parents going to therapy has helped me in dealing with my own mental illness and my recovery journey. If you're new to my videos, I'm Vicky and I talk about my experience with bipolar disorder and OCD and everything in between, depression, anxiety, and all of that. And today I really wanted to talk about something that is quite vulnerable. And I am first going to say I'm very grateful for my parents and I admire them so much for allowing me to talk about something that is so vulnerable to them. And that is that they go to therapy. And I think that in a normal world, that would be completely like okay and normal. But I think in the society that we live in, there is so much stigma that goes around in getting help. I think especially not so much for us that are like, younger people, but I think for our parents who grew up in, different times where nobody was talking about mental health. Having a mental illness meant that you were crazy, where crying was a sign of weakness, and so was sharing your emotions. So there was, I think parents often want to help their kids any way that they can, and there's so many out there who are doing phenomenal by like taking their kids to therapy, a psychiatrist whenever they're struggling and in need. But something I wanted to kind of put out there is that I don't know, like if you've ever like remember whenever you're on an airplane and they talk about an emergency situation where the oxygen masks are gonna drop, and before helping somebody else, you must put it on yourself first. I think the same thing goes with therapy. Once my parents started to go to therapy, I think that the way that like things were handled, like conflict was handled or different situations changed and shifted, and the way that they also approached me and my mental health and my mental illness also shifted because they were learning tools in therapy that helped them regulate their own emotions, which helped tremendously. I think not only like obviously to me, but to themselves. I definitely saw a change in their happiness, in the way that they go about in life, since the time that they had decided to get help. And so like even for me, like I think we all go through things, right? Like everybody has some type of trauma, everybody has gone through something, and I can like confidently say that I can go to my parents and say, hey, like listen, like this thing that happened, it impacted me this way, or it really hurt. And the conversation is, I'm so sorry that that happened, and like how can we do better, how can we do this, and like it's such a shift because they have gone through a process of self-awareness, of gaining tools in their own therapy sessions that have then helped me in my own journey. And I think that like I think they are so brave, not just because they're my parents. Like I genuinely do, because coming from like a Hispanic background, there's that whole baggage, like cultural baggage of you can't cry, you can't get help, which I kind of mentioned at the beginning. And I think specifically for my dad as a man, like, going and getting therapy, that is like something that was basically impossible. And so like the strength that I see in him and like the willingness to break those like boundaries, break all these stigma that come from years and years and years like behind him is so courageous, is it's so brave, and it has had such a positive impact. That's all to tie it back to, I think parents oftentimes are more than willing to go and get their kids help, but don't think about the fact that maybe them going to therapy is also something that would be extremely beneficial, beyond just like helping yourself then in order to help other people. I think having a kid that is going through a mental health crisis is extremely difficult. And I mean, therapy just for that, honestly. Like, how do I deal with all these emotions of the person, the kid that I like, that I love, is going through all these hard times? I don't know how to help them. I don't know how to cope with like them saying, they're depressed, they're sad, like going through this and not knowing how to help them. Those emotions as a parent are very traumatic, and getting help to deal and cope with them is so important. I also want to put this one out there. A lot of times kids will say like, well, I don't want to go to therapy, like, whatever. And they're like, if you don't go to therapy, why should I? And that is the point, sometimes we have to lead by example. And oftentimes, like, it's very easy to tell somebody else to go get help and not do it ourselves. So I hope that this kind of serves as an encouragement that it's okay to break the stigma. It's okay to go against what you were taught when you were little. It's okay to put your mental health first. It's okay to go beyond the things that you have probably ever experienced or learned before. It will have such a benefit in your life. Not only like in the way that you can probably be there for your kids that are struggling, but in the way that like it'll transform your relationships around you with all of your loved ones, with your friends. It'll help you like create boundaries. It'll help you understand what, like, if people are there for the right reasons in your life, and like how to maneuver all these different life situations, how to handle stress at work. Like, therapy is such a powerful tool that so many people aren't using because they're too scared. And I hope that me talking about this and that sharing that, how my parents have also done it, hopefully encourages you to pick up the phone or go to Google and search for a therapist, because it will really change your life. Yeah. So just want to end it with like saying how much I am grateful for my parents and for all that they have done to overcome their own boundaries, their own struggles, and I really, really admire that. So if you like this video, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And always remember that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and a bad day does not mean a bad life.